Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is part two of what's going on and what they are trying to do with the transportation DOT. So let's get to this video. And again, my name is Michael. If you like and subscribe to my channel, please do. Please like and subscribe to my channel as soon as possible. Let's get it.
And again, Jesse Elison is our chief counsel at FMCSA, and he'll walk through those details right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Secretary Duffy has outlined FMCSA has recently become aware of a critical safety failure. Really, it's a crisis on two fronts. The eligibility requirements for obtaining a non-domiciled commercial learner permit and commercial driver's license, or CLP and CDLs, are not narrowly tailored to provide sufficient safety. The second front is the existing regulatory framework is unworkable in practice due to the systematic deficiencies in state implementation. So FMCSA, in good faith, cannot permit this demonstrably failed non-domiciled credentialing system to continue in its current framework.
Okay.
Therefore, we find good cause to issue this IFR, this interim final rule, as Secretary Duffy has mentioned, is effective immediately. And this finding is based on the determination that a regular notice and public procedure are both contrary to the public interest and just not practical, because it would delay the adoption and the immediate implementation of the new strict standards for the issuance of CLPs and CDLs. To address this two-front crisis, we need to act immediately. As Secretary Duffy said, it's an imminent.
I agree. ASAP. I agree. There's way too many crashes. Way too many non-qualified. So I agree. Act as soon as possible.
Imminent hazard to public safety. I'll take just a brief overview. I'll provide a brief overview of the changes in the rule and direct you to FMCSA will be providing a more extensive breakdown of the changes in the rule. But generally it does four things. The change in the rule tightens eligibility. An employment authorization document alone will not be sufficient to obtain a non-domiciled CDL. Eligibility will be restricted to individuals who have lawfully entered the U.S. under a narrow set of verified employment-based visas, specifically and only H-2B, H-2A, and E-2. Secondly, the rule mandates verification. As Secretary Duffy had highlighted, there are many instances where states are not even verifying the underlying immigration documents. But they will now be required to use the Federal Save Immigration Database to verify an applicant's lawful status for every single issuance and renewal of a non-domiciled CDL, no exceptions. Thirdly, there'll be a shortened renewal requirement. The license will now expire when the driver's employment-based visa ends, or in 1 year, or whichever comes first.
Okay.
This will safeguard against the reckless practice of issuing licenses long after a driver's authority to be in the country has expired.
I mean, listen, at this point, I agree with everything he's saying. I agree. Everything he's saying. I can't even say anything that's combat that or to debate that because, man, I totally agree with all this.
And finally, this rule will require in-person renewal. All renewals must be done in person, which will prevent automatic renewals by mail.
Now he says all renewals, so that means once So in about 4 years, when I renew, I have to renew it in person, meaning they may test me on certain things. That sounds like what he's basically saying.
Just to give a little bit of perspective on the impact of this rule, it's prospective, not retrospective. So it doesn't affect the non-domiciled CDLs today. And that amount is about 200,000 and 20,000 learner permits.
That's a lot.
Which is about 5% of the overall CDLs that are issued, about 3.5 CDLs for interstate commerce.
So that's a lot. 200,000 people. That's a lot. Wow. That's 5%, but that's a lot of 5%.
The impact of this rule under the current rules would effectively remove about 190,000 of the non-domiciled CDLs. So it will be significant.
So that being said, people like me gonna be able to get a job. People like me can be able to get my own truck, my own authority. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, that's good for me. That is good for me. I have no problems on hearing this, but my condolences, my heart goes out to the people who is infected, who is trying to make a living. But I can't really talk. I'm not going to downplay them or talk mess about them. It's about who is giving them the licenses. I blame those people, not the ones who have the license, but I blame the ones who are giving them the licenses. That's my problem. Yeah.
The second part that Secretary Duffy has highlighted is FMCSA's action against California. We'll be issuing today a preliminary determination of substantial noncompliance with the standards of issuing CDLs. All states must comply with the statutory requirements for issuances of CDLs,
Okay.
or they risk their highway funding being withheld, or up to decertification of their actual CDL program. In California, FMCSA concluded an annual program review, which is a regular review of the state driver's licensing licensing programs. This particular program, after the direction of Secretary Duffy, we added the non-domiciled component and really focused on that. It's an extensive review. We reviewed 145 of the over 3,000 non-domiciled CDLs issued in California in June. Then it took almost 2 weeks of an on-site investigation. And as Secretary Duffy mentioned, 1 in 4 of our sample size were issued in violation of the federal regulations. So over 60,000, there are over 60,000 non-domiciled CDLs issued in California. And so this potentially impacts about 15,000 drivers. So we'll issue our preliminary determination against California for failing to meet the requirements. And might just outline some of the requirements that will be in our letter. California must immediately pause issuing non-domiciled commercial learner permits and commercial driver's licenses. And as soon as practicable, they need to identify all of the unexpired non-domiciled CDLs that were issued in compliance with the relevant regulations. They must conduct an internal audit to identify all procedural and programming errors, training and quality assurance problems, and insufficient policies and practices,
Okay.
and all of the other issues that have resulted in widespread noncompliance in the issuance of non-domiciled CDLs.
All right.
They must notify FMCSA of the audit findings and the number of unexpired compliant non-domiciled CDLs. They need to take immediate action to correct the deficiencies identified in the audit. They need to take immediate action to avoid and rescind all improperly issued CDLs and reissue those non-domiciled CDLs in accordance with the regulations in effect at the time of reissuance. and they must, in resuming issuing the non-domiciled CDLs, only after the state has ensured that all statutes, regulations, and necessary oversight is in place. As Secretary Duffy mentioned, they have 30 days to respond to the non-compliance letter that'll go out today, and to provide their corrective action to make the implementations necessary to bring their program into compliance with the law.
So I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm just gonna say that again, I have no problems with them doing this, none. So like I said, I blame the people who gave the licenses to the illegals and to the ones who are not qualified. So I blame them. But these states, yeah, like I said, whoever can't find a job will be able to find one now. That's for sure, especially the qualified ones. And I'm definitely qualified. But anyways, I hope you guys like this. Make sure you like this, subscribe to the channel. I'm always reacting to when it comes to DOT or crashes or whatever. If you like it, leave a comment. If you want to donate, please donate. My Cash App is if you see on the bottom. But you guys be blessed. Drive safe out there. Have a great day. Peace.